When I was a young kid, I basically predicted, oh geez, in my late teens, early 20s, that the United States would have had a massive nervous breakdown either during the Reagan years or well after. Now, we've seen that in recent months or years. The whole country is believing the information that is provided on the internet without looking at real facts. Now, the death of Charlie Kirk, no matter how you look at it, he was a radical conservative that was spewing all kind of racist theories for years. He was part of the Tea Party as the youth wing that still existed. Now, he was one of the highest profile conservative activists and media personality in the States at the time of his death. He rallied the youth movement to help get Trump some of the votes needed for the election in 2024. Now, according to BBC, actually Trump announced the news. He was seen as both the future of conservative activism as well as a highly polarizing figure, and some people were thinking he was going to make a presidential run in 2028. I really think so. By the way, some people, I accidentally left the comments on one of my posts. I don't want anybody dead, but I'm not surprised he's dead, and a lot of people are going to be happy about his passing because not everybody believes in what he's saying. The majority of sensible people would not subscribe to 90% or even 10% of what he says. He was the son of an architect who grew up in a well-to-do Chicago suburb of Prospect Heights. He attended an Illinois community college before dropping out to devote himself to political activism. He also applied unsuccessfully for West Point, the elite U.S. military academy. Kirk often related tongue-in-cheek to his lack of a college degree when debating students and academics on topics such as postmodernism. Now, he was an avid public speaker, touring the country addressing Republican events, many of which were popular with members of the ultra-conservative Tea Party movement. His daily talk show radio show had millions of followers on social media. Turning Point, which he started at age 18, aimed to spread conservative ideals at liberal-leading U.S. colleges. The event on Wednesday at Utah State University, where he was gunned down, was the first stop in a planned 15-event American comeback tour of college campuses, where attendees were invited to argue with Kirk. No security, no aspect of thought that maybe someone would try to kill him. Completely stupid. Now, his social media and his Optimus daily podcast often offer clips of him debating with students about issues like climate change, faith, and family values. Kirk's comments on gender, race, and politics often drew fierce liberal criticism, and from centrists like me. His opposition to gun control were among the issues he discussed. A few months ago, he said it is worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so we can have the Second Amendment. A clip of Trump himself plays at the beginning of Kirk's podcast. I want to thank Charlie. He's an incredible guy. His spirit is blah, 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 blah. The nonprofit he founded, Turning Point USA, a large part of his legacy, began after President Barack Obama was reelected in 2012. Now, the idea he believed in the MAGA movement from start to finish, and he's also part of that movement to annex Canada, Panama and Greenland into that whatever they're planning right now. Now, the idea of his views, ladies and gentlemen, are not something that anybody wants to really go over too well now on the conservative side, but you have to start at the basis. Now, all the major talking points, he was like on the left-hand side or the centrist, he was against. Now, he rose to prominence in the first Trump administration through his numerous media podcasts. His views were often viewed as controversial. As an anti-abortion Christian, he routinely debated progressive liberals, Muslims, and LGBT community, resulting in allegations of misogyny, Islamophobia, and homophobia. During the COVID pandemic, he denounced mass mandates. He referred to vaccine requirements as medical apartheid, and also promoted Trump's false claim that the 2020 presidential election was rigged against him by a vast Democrat conspiracy. He frequently adopted Trumpian talking points, blaming DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion, hiring practice for flooding in Texas early this year, calling New York City mayoral candidate Zohan Mamdani a parasite, and attempting to steer the national conversation away from Jeffrey Epstein by announcing he was done with the subject. Now, the gun control situation, he was answering a question about mass shootings actually when he was shot. And that comment about it saying deaths were awarded if they kept the Second Amendment is just, foolhardy. Now, when he adopted a traditional conservative stance in his approach to many contemporary issues, he said that Democrats stand for everything God hates, and added it's a Christian state, I'd like to see it stay that way. He also lashed out the gay community, denouncing what he called the LGBTQ agenda, expressing opposition to same-sex marriage and suggesting that the Bible verse Leviticus 20:13, which endorses the execution of homosexuals, serves as God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matters. I don't agree with your lifestyle, Kirk told a gay Wisconsin college student last September. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexuality, because that's not what you are. He also argued against gender-affirming care for transgender people and insisted there are only two genders. Most recently discussed the burning of pride flags, writing an X, we should work to overturn every conviction for those arrested, fined, or otherwise harassed for the hate crime of doing donuts over pride flags painted on public streets. It should be legal to burn a rainbow or Black Lives Matter flag in public. He was also, again, a big supporter of MAGA. He was uncomfortable with U.S. intervention in foreign wars, notably dismissing Russia's invasion of Ukraine as a border dispute, but remained a vocal supporter of Israel. Now, generally, though Kirk was loyal to Trump, whom he saw as the key to establishing the conservative Christian America he wanted to help realize, one in which abortion is heavily restricted to cases of medical emergency, in which the mother's life cannot be saved by any other means. Women enter higher education to find husbands, and woke ideologies play no part in public life. Now, according to one poster, and this was on The Independent, he didn't deserve what happened to him, but he was no nice guy. He encouraged not just hate, but violence against many others he perceived as not being just like him. He was also an anti-Semite and racist. This is not like a varied opinion. He was also, again, the idea about his whole total negativity in these posts. He made a nice looking guy, but like what he did, not say it killed him, but you can figure out the math. There's going to be one or two crazies out there that would attempt something like that. And like I said, this was a real assassination, to hit someone from a bullet that far away, a sniper's bullet. They knew what they were doing. Now, what will happen in the next few months? Will be make him a martyr? Well, like I said, momentum is not really, you can't really tell 3 days or 4 days after it happened. There's nobody going to be going out there in Canada said, vote for Poilievre because he's supported Kirk's ideas. That could work against, what they call the moderate conservative base, or like the right-wing base, like conservative parties in Canada. So, like I say, well, that's who was happening. But I'm not surprised by anything in the States. And like I said, they act like cowboys, like my Uncle Sammy says, they're like cowboys. And like any cowboys, you think a bullet's not going to hurt them. So, I mean, would it have been different? Would have been killed? No, if he would have been left-wing, he might have been killed as well. Crazier things have happened. But that's how the States goes. It's understatement. There's no in the middle here. Like, they can't get along. And like I said, it's like, as we say in Canada, it's like living next door to a crack house. So that's the way it goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the latest on my thoughts on Charlie Kirk. If you like what we're doing here with our YouTube podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.